Hey, Dr. Bull, this is Paige Starnes, and this is my reflection, my self-reflection, my self-evaluation using the North Carolina Instructional Technology Facilitator Standards, as well as I have ISTE's Coach Standards, and I also have the Digital Teaching and Learning standards as well. So I'm just going to kind of reflect on where I think I currently am. And if you see kitties pop up, I do apologize, but they want to be part of this as well. Um, so for the very first one, excuse me, Bass. For the first one, it talks about how, we use the 21st century tools and skills. I think right now I would say that I am proficient in that. I really think that I support the implementation, of the 21st century vision. But I feel like just because, we're in a smaller school, a smaller district, we're not one-to-one, it's still taken us a while to get there. So through the ISTE standards, talking about, being a professional learning facilitator, I definitely think that, as a coach from that perspective, I think that I do that with the 21st century standards. And I also think that I'm collaborative, and, I think that I try to use those tools because this is the world that we're growing up in, and the kids are just, it's around them everywhere. Even though I teach elementary school, it's everywhere. It's just helping them use it educationally in the right way. So then with this one, talking about aligning, implementing programs. For that one, I think that I'm proficient. I am trying to demonstrate the effective use of tools and appropriate tools. It's just with the devices, we don't have as many available, that I would love to use. So we're still just trying to do. He's on my papers, I'm sorry. Just trying to do what we can with what we have, kind of dipping our toes in the water, if you will. But I definitely think we are on our way with that. And I think that one also is talking about vision and, research, aligning the goals. So that goes with the digital teaching and learning, clear and relevant vision. I really think we have that. We know where we want to go. We're trying to get there. And then for element C, this one is talking about model and apply information and technology standards as they design and implement learning experiences for both students and educators. So that one I kind of feel like I'm developing and kind of bridging over into proficient. And the reason I was kind of thinking what that was, I know that there are so many tools, digital content and instruction from the digital teaching and learning. There are so many tools. I think sometimes we just feel overwhelmed with everything that is available. From ISTE, they were talking about being a connected learner and really knowing the ISTE standards for educators and for students, and then also for coaches and how that all relates. So I'm still learning all that. For that one, for D, element D, it was talking about collaborating among educators within and beyond the school setting. I would say right now I think I am proficient in that. We're using Google Classroom a lot now. We were a Microsoft Office district for a long time. We're still using that. Now we're trying to use Google. And so with lesson plans, we used to use a platform that it was all web-based and all the teachers had everything uploaded to that platform. And then once we got Google, it was decided that our websites were going to go to Google, so we were going to lose that from that other platform. Our lesson plans are going to have to be converted and put into Google. So just that piece it's opened up more collaboration with not just me, but our teachers among grade levels, because they can actually put their lesson plans together in Google Docs, and they can all work on it. Even if they're not together at school, we can all work on it at our different times, and that's been, I think, a game changer. So with ISTE standards for coaches, collaboration is so important. Not just building the relationships with the educators, but also the students, everybody in the school. And I think for the digital teaching and learning, it's also about the leadership in digital learning. And I feel like I'm a quiet leader, but whenever, someone needs help or they need me to, branch out and actually take some action. And I think people, maybe you can relate to this, but I love teaching the kids. I'm not embarrassed at all, but whenever you tell me to teach adults, I do feel a little self-conscious. So I'm still working on that, but I really try to make it fun and entertaining, and that has kind of helped me. My dad's a pastor. He's been a pastor for 40 years, and so just anytime there's been an odd moment, he would just say something that would just try and get everybody a little chuckle, and so I try to think like that whenever I'm in front of adults, and that has really helped me lead virtually. We haven't done that as much, but we do things like I said, people send me messages. I talk on the phone. I have done some, video chats before with our teachers. So I really think that I am proficient in that, but of course there is room to grow. For E was talking about demonstrate high ethical standards. So for that one, I am going to say that I am distinguished. I am the kind of person that I always want to do the right thing even when nobody's watching, and I try to tell my students that too. Morals and following ethics, especially with my historical background and just love of everything from the past and how we learn from that and how it affects the future. So I really think that ethically I am distinguished. And it was talking about copyright law for digital teaching and learning, intellectual property, fair use guidelines, making sure the kids are using those guidelines as well. And I teach fourth grade. It's so important. They don't really have to use citations yet, but even our fourth graders, I go ahead and we talk about how to cite your author. What page was it on? What text was it from? And whenever they go to fifth grade, they already kind of have a head start on that. So I really do think I work on that. Plus, I do some videography for our school every now and then. So I also have to be careful with that aspect of it. And so whenever the kids are making videos, we're using iPads, Movie Maker, iMovie, I also try to make sure we think about that with the music and narration and things they use. And it talked about with the digital teaching and learning community and how we have to make sure that we're modeling responsible use of technology with, communication, social, ethical, legal, global issues. We just have to make sure we do that. So over here with the ISTE standards, it really was talking about digital citizen, being an advocate for that, and recognizing just how responsible we have to be living in the digital world. So that really all came together for me with that one, being distinguished. For the next one, standard 2, it was talking about the learning environment, collaboration, multiple learning styles. I'm going to say proficient and moving on to accomplished. With our kids, I've seen it change. I've only been teaching for 11 years, but I have just seen a change over the years in how the students are grouped and all the different ways we can cater to their learning styles. So for the ISTE standards, that goes with being a learning designer and how to support educators to design those environments and those experiences for their students. And looking at the digital teaching and learning, it talked about digital content and instruction. And so they were talking about not just, individual interest, but also how to help them be active participants and set their own educational goals, and how you can manage that learning, and also make sure that the physical learning environment is conducive to the digital learning environment. We had a teacher, we had a meeting recently, and there was a teacher who wanted to include different seating arrangements in her room, and one of them was a wobble chair. And so we had a faculty meeting, and the kids there, some of them are always on the move, and so we were all sitting down, and the teacher did not realize that it was a wobble chair. She thought it was just going to be a regular stool. She was going to sit down. It was going to be normal. She almost fell out of the chair. So for kids, they want that movement, and so for them that would be conducive, and it would help them focus on whatever activity they were doing. But we just have to remember it needs to be appropriate for everybody. For the next one, it is talking about how to have that content area curriculum, the pedagogy, the right practice. Excuse me, the right practices. So for that one, I think I'm proficient, but moving on to be accomplished, because I feel like I am promoting the effective use of those universal design principles, and I am collaborating with our school staff to develop that. From the digital teaching and learning, it was talking about content and instruction, and how using systems to analyze and share data. We have district assessments for our math and our language arts every 9 weeks. We have digital assessments through Google Classroom, and that really helps us compare with the standards of what the students are learning. So I think we are, instead of us just doing that paper and pencil, we're now trying to do it digitally, where the kids can actually practice for the state testing, but also get used to using the digital format. With the ISTE standards, that goes back to being a learning designer and how those experiences are actually created. For the next one, Standard 3. Oh, and I also wanted to say with that same one, for Standard 2, we also do interest inventories, especially with reading, just to kind of see what genre and type of literature the students like. And right now they're paper pencil, but I would love to make them digital, and I think that would get the kids even more excited about it. The next one is talking about fostering the effective use of digital tools and resources. For that one, I think I am accomplished, because it talked about building a positive academic digital footprint, using technology resources appropriately, and I just think that's so important. Today, our students, they're doing research in 4th grade on the American Revolution, and they're trying to either pick an event or a famous person they want to relate to and find information. And so I had all these resources in Google Classroom. I had, Discus, credible sources, encyclopedias, Yahoo!gans, all kinds of things, and then the kids were on Google. So we had to have that conversation, about not all credible sources are going to be found there. So I think that goes with being with the ISTE standards a change agent, because we're inspiring ourselves to make sure we have high quality learning. I think that is so important. And from the digital teaching and learning, it mentioned digital content and instruction, and it said, immersing students in exploring relevant issues and analyzing authentic problems through digital tools and resources. And so that's why I think it's just so important to use those tools, but also make sure we're creating a constructive environment that is making it better for them. It also talked about minutes from professional learning. We do that. We have various committees, various groups working with parents. We have a student group. We're a lighthouse school. We use the 7 habits, and so we always have minutes from all the different groups that we meet with. And then it talked about lessons and appropriate resources, and I really think we are working on that and making a positive difference. For the next one, Standard 4, this one was talking about technology facilitators use effective pedagogy. to infuse the curriculum with 21st century content and tools. So for that one, I think I'm on the verge